Welcome to Rock Your Block. I'm your guest host today, Don Moragne, and today's show is probably the most important show that you'll ever watch, and probably the most important show that we've done so far, at least in my lifetime. We're going to be talking about getting out the vote. Acronym GOTV, getting out the vote. Extremely important. So what I want you to do is move up close to your TV, move up close to your screen. Let's get involved. I need you personally involved. I'm going to introduce you to three really impactful individuals, and I'm going to start with Buta. Would you tell our wonderful audience who you are and all the wonderful things that you do?
Excellent. Thank you, Don, and thank you for having us. My name is Buta Biberaj, and I most recently was the elected Commonwealth's attorney for Loudoun County.
Oh, fantastic.
And I served from 2020 through 2023. I'm also been a 30-year practicing attorney. I currently have my own law firm, VeriJust Law, PLLC, located in Leesburg, Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
And this is, to your point, a very important conversation for us to be able to have, because we literally are going to be able to be in a position where do we preserve our democracy, do we surrender it, and what do we do to preserve it for the future of our children? So Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much. Hi, Trinity. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Again, tell us all who you are and what you do, please.
Of course. Thank you for having me, first of all. My name is Trinity Kimberly. I'm the president of Loudoun County Young Dems currently.
Okay, president of...
Yes.
Wow, okay.
I have been involved in local politics for about as long as I can remember. I started volunteering with my mom when I was around 5, so a long time now. And it's just one of the most important things. And to what you were saying earlier, this is probably the most important thing people can be doing right now, is getting out and getting involved. And as a young person, I'm so happy to have the opportunity to be here and speaking with you today.
We're glad that you're here with us. Shri, hello, my friend. Tell us all about yourself.
Absolutely. It's great to be here, Don, with all of you. Thank you for having me. So my name is Vellakkat. I'm currently the membership director of the Loudoun County Young Dems, along with Trinity here. And I am currently one of the main organizers for the National Youth Chapter of Desi Blue, a massive South Asian mobilization effort to get South Asians to engage with the democratic process, especially here in the United States.
Oh, fantastic.
Thank you. I'm a student at American University in Washington, D.C. I study international relations. And I can't agree more with the things that have been said earlier here. It's an absolutely pivotal point in all of our lives. And I think it's only going to get more important as we look back years from now and see, wow, 2024 was that moment that changed everything in some way or another. And what that moment is, what that change is, well, I think that's what we have to determine right here and right now.
All right. Well said. Well said. Buta, share with us why you personally got involved with Kamala's campaign.
She speaks to me. One, Kamala Harris is an immigrant child, and that is where she has had the experience to be able to know, kind of with her family coming to the U.S. and just trying to pursue and live the American dream. Mm-hmm. Another reason is...
And your family's also immigrant. Is that a connection that you've got there?
It is. We came when I was 3 years of age in 1967 from Montenegro, and my parents came to the U.S. to escape communism.
Okay.
And we lived in New York City for a long period of time until I came down to Virginia for college. But with Kamala Harris, I thought that this was somebody who was able to speak to me in a lot of ways, as I indicated, her being an immigrant, her family also having the pursuit of the American dream, her going to college and university to be able to study to be a lawyer, being a prosecutor, and then just continuing to serve our community in a way that she thought she can best do so. Mm-hmm. And my journey was somewhat similar in the sense where I was a lawyer. I was helping people in our community on a one-to-one basis or on a family basis. Mm-hmm. And then in 2016, events of the world took over, and I realized that I needed to be more engaged. In 2018, I decided that I was going to run for the Commonwealth's attorney position in Loudoun County, and I was elected in 2019, and I served from 2020 to 2023. And it was a blessing to be able to see how, in public service, you can help the community. And the goal is always to make the experience better for all. Mm-hmm. This November, we have potential in Loudoun County through the elections for Subramanian to be elected to serve us in Congress. When he wins, that will vacate the state Senate seat, District 32, that I will be running for.
Oh, okay.
So it's an opportunity for us to, as lawyers, to be part of making the laws, drafting the laws, and making sure that the laws reflect the needs of the community. So I'm very hopeful in that respect.
Okay, a lot of your life mirrors that of Kamala's life. That is so fantastic.
It does.
Hello, Trinity.
Hello.
Tell us, why are you so involved in the Kamala campaign?
Thank you so much for asking. One of the main reasons that I was really drawn to working with Kamala is that she is a woman. We have not seen a woman candidate who is so strong with engagement of young voters, not only about the things that she talks about, but the way that she engages with us. If you've seen any of her social media tactics, she really latches on to the things that engage younger people. She follows, or her team also follows, the way that we interact with each other to make sure that we are getting our things highlighted. Just the way that she speaks to us is so powerful and so important, and I've never seen that before. I really want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to support a strong female candidate for the presidency.
Fantastic. Thank you, Trinity. That's very, very strong. Shri, why are you involved in Kamala's campaign, my friend?
Absolutely. I think, going back to what Buta's answer was, I too have a lot of commonalities with Kamala's upbringing. The city in India, southern India, where she's from, Chennai. I have lived there for a bit, actually.
Oh, okay.
And both of my parents are themselves immigrants from southern India. So I was raised in this kind of blend between Western American culture as well as, my South Asian heritage. And to see a candidate on a national scale who is South Asian, who attended, for example, the Indian American Impact conference that I was at just a few months ago, and who spoke there to us, and who really is unafraid to let that part of her heritage seep into her and be affecting her policies and what she does, well, that speaks a lot to me. And I've always been active with government service and the politics around it. Both of my parents are government contractors. My father helps NASA's IT service. My mother is the deputy cybersecurity officer for Arlington County, Virginia.
Wow.
So I've been raised in this DC mindset, so to speak. And so to see someone like Kamala Harris, who is part South Asian, running for higher office, especially in this atmosphere, in this time, that's monumental. And I can't wait to support her even further, or support someone like Suha Subramaniam in Virginia's 10th Congressional District, who's also of Southern Indian heritage and who is unafraid to represent himself and represent people like me and people across Northern Virginia and the DMV area when making change happen.
Great. And Trinity, you're the president of the Young Dems, right?
Yes.
How did that happen? I mean, did you get involved early and just rose to that prominent position, or you just walked in and said, I want to be president?
A little bit of both. So, as I had said earlier, I started volunteering with my mom way back when Obama was running the first time. So I've been very active in Loudoun County because I was, about 5 years old when I started volunteering with her. So I had built up a lot of my background in politics and the community. I mean, that's really what it boils down to me is that I built up my part in the community. I got involved everywhere I could. So when it came time where I was like, I want to do something more, I found a group of people and I was like, help me get this up and running, which is wonderful because our membership director was on that team of people who helped me get this up and running. And it's been worth every minute.
Absolutely. We didn't have a chapter for about 12 years at this point, so we've been trying to get it back up and running, and to finally have a place where people in Loudoun County can actually organize their opinions and share it with others is marvelous. And as membership director, we're really trying to get that outreach up and running, along with comms, publicity, so many other facets of LCYD leadership. We're trying to make sure that we have people who are, anyone who's maybe working in a place like the League of United Latin American Citizens, who's just living in Loudoun County and want to share their opinions, all the way to young high schoolers who just want a place to talk about politics and want to feel comfortable doing so. The LCYD is a place that we're trying to keep open for everyone involved. And I think that as the youth, we're inheriting the future. So it's important that...
Hold on 1 second. Define LCYD.
LCYD, yeah, of course. Loudoun County Young Democrats.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think as we're inheriting the future, it's important that we get a place to think about what we want to inherit and how we can make that happen so we don't have to wait and be left with something we didn't desire.
Fantastic. Buta, what point would you like to get across to our audience today if nothing else gets across?
Be engaged.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure that you are actually looking past the headline. Don't get caught, biting on the hook of taglines or anybody giving you a clickbait, but just really be engaged and understand that everything that's going on right now has an impact on you directly, or it'll impact family members, or it'll impact your community, your children, all around you. Because the one thing we have to understand is we're obviously not in this world by ourselves. So we have to take care of one another so others can also take care of us in our time of need.
I like that.
We have got to be engaged. This is not one for the sidelines.
Good. Thank you. Thank you very much. Trinity, same question. What would you like to get across to our audience about getting out to vote, how important it is for us to just go to the polls?
I think that Buta said it perfectly. We need to be engaged. We need to work as a community, read things past just the headline, really invest in your community. This is not a single person issue. And I think that's being forgotten with most things, not just in the world of politics. We tend to everywhere forget about other people. So think about the people around you, your neighbors, your children, your cousins, the guy down the street you've never met before. Think about everybody as you make these decisions. Really get involved.
Okay, fantastic. Hi, Shri, same question. What would you like to get across to our audience today, if nothing else?
I think there are 3 words I like to remember in these times. Everything is politics. We think of politics as just, Congress people debating about how much money should go to funding Social Security or funding the Department of Defense, but everything you can think of is somehow politically related, because everything needs money, everything needs funding, everything needs permissions or approvals or some sort of thing that make it related. And I think even if you're not the type of person to care much about the national political headlines, because it's been so saturated these days, there are plenty of down ballot races that I like learning about personally. We mentioned Subramaniam earlier running for Congress, but there are plenty even further lower than that. In Leesburg, where I live, we have, for example, the re-election of Mayor Kelly Burke, the election of several members to our Leesburg Town Council. And we have people like that who might not make national headlines, but they're the ones who get your sidewalks fixed. They're the ones who get your traffic lights put in or taken out if you don't like them. They're the ones who ensure that the way you live in your town, in your home, is how you like it to be.
So you're saying that even though we're talking about national politics, there's a trickle down.
Absolutely.
That everyone needs to be concerned about.
Yeah, the down ballot effect. If we get Kamala Harris elected to the presidency, when we get Kamala Harris, yeah, absolutely. When that happens, it's like what Trinity said, you can't do this alone. It's not a single person effort. The national presidency can say what they'd like, but it's in the local races that we get the effects handed to us. It's how we get the schools and the fundings and the hospitals all developed.
So I've got a question for you, Loudoun Young Democrats.
Yeah.
The sources say that young people only vote less than 60%. Why is that, and how can we change that?
I think that young voters have become very disillusioned. We've grown up watching a lot of really hard things. I started K through 12, I want to say 2006. And just in my time in elementary school, we saw the rise in lockdown drills, and we had people trying to get this taken care of. But, I graduated high school, and I can't even count how many actual lockdowns we had. We had rallies trying to get involved, and we just kept getting pushed to the side. The same thing has happened with climate change, trying to get involved and being ignored. So you've got a lot of these young people who are like, well, I've tried everything I can. Why would I keep going? And it's really hard to kind of break through to them that, well, they didn't listen then, but they're going to listen now.
Okay.
And so with this particular election, we've actually seen a really huge rise in young voters and young people wanting to be involved.
Great.
So I'm hopeful that this can mark a turning point for young voter engagement.
Okay. Shri, what do you think about young voters coming out?
It's sort of a catch-22, right? You have this scenario where young voters aren't going to come out because they feel like their priorities aren't being listened to. but a lot of times their priorities aren't being listened to because they're not out. And the people who are in politics or people in positions of power will listen to the people that they know will vote for them or that they know are actually present in the community.
Mm-hmm.
When I started
point.
attending recent chapters of, for example, meetings of normal political committees, I was the only person underneath 60 for a good few months at the very least. And I know it's not just me, but we need people who are willing to make that splash. And I think that started happening across the nation. Youth turnout's an all-time high. It's a really, really crucial electorate that delivered in 2020 and will deliver again in 2024. And even in my own college, I'm seeing plenty of people who are getting their absentee ballots, who are talking to each other, being like, hey, can you come and vote with me on this day? Can you do this? So I think that even though that disillusionment is still there, it's time that we have people who, it's time we have youth who are helping that make it go away. And I think that Loudoun County Young Democrats,
That's where we come in.
yeah, that's what our job is.
Okay, that's where you two come in.
And I think it's hopefully working. We're seeing more youth rise in Loudoun County, and I think that it's only going to get better from here.
Fantastic. Buta, for you, what are the critical issues that in this election that you feel are important to you and should be important to everyone who's going out to vote?
As a woman, I think we have to focus on how the laws are being used and policies are being used right now to weaponize against women. I'm 60. You didn't check my ID and I'm insulted. You didn't let me answer the young Dem question, but we'll move forward. But this is the first time in my life that I honestly feel that we are under constant attack. Our freedom of choice snatched away from us. After 50 years, it got taken in the blink of an eye, right? When we start talking about what else that the ramifications will have when they make the changes such as they did with Dobbs, is every group or special needs or special interest is on the chopping block, right? So we have that aspect that if we don't have the ability as women to make choices as to one, how we want to, and if we want to have children, it impacts our education. It impacts our ability to be able to have an income. It impacts our ability to serve our community and do the things that we need to do. And it has to be an independent choice. When we take that choice away from women, it is the most harshest consequence that we have because of the fact that it impacts everything that we do. And we talked a little bit earlier with yourself and Sri saying this, as men, you have to be engaged because of the fact that you may feel like they're not impacting my choice, but yes, they are. Right? They're going to impact your choice in your families, be it as a father, as a brother, as a boyfriend, as a husband, as a sibling. All those things are the reasons why you have to look at these things and say, it is impacting me. It's impacting me because it's impacting those around me that I care and I love. And if we don't all come together and band together and stand together for one another's rights, there will be no rights because they come after me, they're coming after you.
Okay.
It's just a matter of time. And if we don't, it's against the bully, right? If we don't band together and fight the bully individually, it's a sniper, right? They take each one of us out in our special interests because we're so divided. We're not strong. So we have got to come together and say there are certain things that we're going to stand for, and that's personal freedoms, and that's primary to everyone. And we're going to stand against those who are trying to kind of squash us or put us down. So that for me is the most primary issue this election.
I love that answer. But keeping with that, back to the young Dems.
I want to.
The young women. What would you say to the young women about the importance of this election and going out to vote?
Well, we say it every year. This is the most important election. Every year is the most important election. Do your research, understand where everybody is standing on these issues. Talk to the people around you. I mean, Buta made a great point. Dobbs was a decision practically overnight. Talking to my family and just the shock that they had that I now had less rights than they did was just insane. And I think that really needs to be highlighted with young women is that this is now something that your parents had and you do not.
Wow, I like that. Fantastic. Sri, young women and politics and this election, especially as a membership director, what's your take on that?
I think it's important for everyone to get involved. And obviously, I can't speak for the experience of young women as much, but I can say to the young men watching this that what Buta said is absolutely true. You're a brother, you're a son, you're a boyfriend, you're someone with a vested interest in keeping the people you love safe and keeping their rights secure. And I know with my own family, I have a sister, she's 11 right now, she's in 6th grade. I want her to see a future where she can live happily and love the people she loves, and where she can have control over her body. I have a baby cousin who's about 2 years old. I want her to come into a world where she feels positive for the future. And I want her to be able to know that no matter what happens, that we have her back. I think if you're a young man in this election, it's important to consider that you can be there for your family. You can be there for the people you care about, your friends, your lovers. And that's what community is. That's what bringing people together is. And that's how we make sure that we fight for all of our collective issues, from the economy and rising food prices, all the way to healthcare access for every single person in our society.
Fantastic. Well, we're winding down, and it's really, really impactful that we've got the three of you who are talking directly to our audience. Any parting thoughts, Buta?
Yes. I want to just tag on to what Sri and Trinity just said a little while ago about building community. At the end of the day, the government should reflect our needs. What do we need for them to do for us? Because remember, historically, we the people. Government is for the people. We have to make sure that we preserve that so that it's not against the people. And the only way that we're able to do that is, again, by banding with one another. Elections are very important. I know there are times people think that they don't have the time. I'm not interested. It's too chaotic. This person's an imperfect individual who's running for office.
Or my vote doesn't count.
Or my vote doesn't count. And I'll tell you this on that point. I lost my re-election by 300 votes in a pool of 130,000.
Wow.
Right, 300 votes. So if you think your vote doesn't count, I can stand here or sit here and definitely say for you, yeah, it does.
From personal experience.
From personal experience. So
Wow, thank you
do
for
not
sharing that.
ever let anybody make you feel that way because of this reason. Then they have won and they've stolen the vote from you. Because if you don't exercise it, it's the equivalent of you not having it. In America, we're fortunate. We have the right to vote. We've got to exercise it. It's not a participation trophy. You've got to get in the game.
Thank you, my love. Trinity, any parting comments?
Be engaged.
Okay.
Be engaged with your community. That's really the biggest thing, is your community matters. And if you're not voicing your opinion within your community, why would anybody take the time to learn about it?
Okay.
So just engage, especially with your younger neighbors, with your children, with your grandchildren, all of the younger people in your life. They have ideas. They just need somebody to express that they care.
Okay.
So.
Thank you. Thank you. Shri, any parting comments, my friend?
No matter what anyone tells you, you have a foot in the game. If you want to get that sidewalk fixed, if you want to get more bike lanes, that's politics. If you want to get those grocery costs reduced, that's politics. If you want to see a better future for your family, that's politics. No matter what, the media says or what politicians say, you have a right and you have a responsibility to fight and advocate for the issues that you care about. And so it's your choice if you exercise that or not, but I know I will.
Okay, fantastic. This has been an absolutely dynamic and important session. I have three fantastic people here who have given us their personal opinions, hopefully that you will consider when you decide to go out and make a decision to go to the polls. We're absolutely hoping that everyone will find the reason for them to be involved in this political process. And if you don't have a reason, you've gotten reasons from these wonderful people today. Let's make it happen. Good night.